This video is going to show you how to install the canvas keepsakes that we have on our website onto the canvas art frames that you can buy at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. They come in packs, and these are the 8x10. These are sized for the 8x10. So we're going to show you how we use a stapler. Then we use a stapler that looks like this. This is more for a woman. Some of our previous instructions show using a heavy duty, but you really don't need a heavy duty. And I have a link on the description and also in the instructions for this. This was purchased on Amazon. It was like $12, I think, is all. So I'll show you how to use that. And that's more of a woman's variety. It isn't quite as intimidating. Actually, this is pretty easy. So what you want to do, the very first sequence that goes down for your print is going to be the crosshairs. And the crosshairs go on the back. And you can't see those very well right now because of all the stitching that has gone down. But what you want to do, I can see where it is. And I'm going to kind of outline it for you so you can see it better. But if you want to use a contrasting bobbin thread, that would be the preferred thing to do. I happen to use white, and so it blends right into this stabilizer. So I've just marked it here. But what I've done, what you want to do then is take your ruler and just lay it on those crosshairs and extend your line on further out across the stabilizer. And do that both directions. That's on the outside of the design itself. And then what we're going to do is take the canvas frame. This is a pre-stretched frame, and just measure. This should be 10 and this should be 8. So the middle, the center, would be 5 inches on the long side and 4 inches on the short side. And so I've already marked those. On each side you want to mark that. Just a little dash is all you need. And then lay it and match those crosshairs that you extended. Match those so that you've got them, the horizontal and the vertical, matched. And then run your disappearing ink, just run it right down the edge of that canvas frame, just like this. And so now what we have is the outline of the frame. 8x10. Now what you want to do is trim the stabilizer, just the stabilizer, on that line that you just marked, which is the outline of the art frame, the canvas art frame. Now you're just cutting the stabilizer, all 4 sides. Now once you're finished with that, you can just double check, and you can see that it is the perfect size of the art frame, or the canvas frame. Okay, the next thing you want to do then, what we're going to do, we're going to need an inch and a quarter of fabric to bring across in order to attach it to this canvas frame. So to do that, we're going to mark 1 1/4 inches from that outline. So just take your quilt roller and lay a quarter and just run the line all the way out. You're going to do that on all 4 sides. I have some interfacing down here, so that was confusing me. I was seeing that interfacing. But it should be right there on that line, the outline of the frame. And just take your time because you want to get this even. If you want to trim some corners for a sort of a faux mitered edge, you can come inside those lines and make just a little short line on the inside of that line. So that would be right here. And you can go all the way around and measure 1 1/4. Now you're going on the opposite side that you did before. And what this is going to do is giving you a place where you can trim that fabric after we get it cut out. Let's see, this way. Now I'm going to do this one here, and then I'm going to show you a way that might be a little bit easier. And basically what you're doing, you're just running another line out from the outline here. So let's go ahead and cut that first, and then we'll mark it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do now is we're going to trim this fabric, which is 1 1/4 inches, just to double check. Take this ruler here. So just if you want to be, doing it the first time, you want to make sure. So it's 1 1/4 from the edge of where the frame is going to be. That was where your outline mark was, to this 1 1/4 inch mark that you've made. That is 1 1/4 inches. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to cut this fabric on that mark that we just made. That is 1 1/4 inch from the outline of the frame. Now if we extend this line, the outline, on down, which is essentially the 1 1/4 mark, we're just going to extend that on down on all 4 corners. So we have kind of a little box right there now. That one's already extended. Okay. And before you staple, you're going to trim from the edge of one of those lines to the edge of the other one. And it's just going to be this little triangle right here. And I can mark it and show you a little clearer maybe by just get rid of some of this stuff here. Just laying my ruler from one edge to the other edge. And it's this right here. It's that right there. That you're going to cut. That little triangle. And you're going to do that on all 4 corners. Now after you've cut your 4 corners, you're going to start stapling. I'm going to show you a little trick someone showed me. It makes this using this staple gun really easy. Now remember, you have your markings that you made for your center marks. Let's just extend those on out so we can see them really, really well. Right here. And of course, once you do this a few times, stapling these, putting these on, these are, these get to be really fast. And you still have your marks on your edge. So you want to make sure that that's lined up nicely with those marks, and right on the, you should have the corner, the outline, that line. Mine's hidden a little bit because I have that interfacing underneath there. So just get your lines marked up, get it in, make sure that you're in the correct position, lined up really well. And you're going to start with the long side of your canvas, and you're going to bring your fabric over the edge, and you're going to put a staple right there in the center. You're going to do one side first, of course. You can only do one side at a time. And a trick someone showed me. Now the tendency is, especially for women, is to, it might not be a woman doing this. We could be having some men doing this as well. So I apologize. But this is, I'm gearing this mostly for women here. So it's a little pink staple. This is just like a lightweight kind of staple gun. But what's the tendency here is to kind of twist your arm down so that you're not resting exactly where you need to be with it being straight. And if you if you take another one of your little canvas pieces, canvas art stretcher frames out of the packet, if you bought a packet, and just lay that so that it's a few inches away from the one that you're working on. And what that does, that gives you a resting point for this back side so that you're not angling and putting too much pressure, turning sideways. You don't realize it. You think you're straight down, but you really aren't. And that will keep the staple from going in. So now the tendency is, without having that resting on the back side resting, and you want it to be the same height as what you're stapling, and that's the reason for putting another one of the canvas frames next to it. Just let it rest there, and then in the middle of the fabric, middle of the frame there, just press that down and turn it over, and then do it on the other long side. And then turn it over to one of the short sides and do the same. And then you want to check it and just make sure that you are lined properly, which we are. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and staple, put a staple, you end up with like 3 staples on each side. So put a staple here and a staple here, and go all the way around, and then we'll come back and we will work on these corners. Now what we're going to do is work on these corners. You have this little bit of extra that we cut off So it makes it a lot easier. But what you're going to do is take the point of that leftover corner and bring it down into the corner on the canvas frame. And then you're going to fold one side and bring it down. And then you're going to fold the other side, kind of like wrapping a Christmas present. And once you have that worked in to where it looks neat, you're going to take your staple gun and put a staple in there. We got the corner nice. So we're going to do the same thing over here. And we'll just work our way around the four corners. Bring that down. A little tedious, but not that difficult. When you bring your staple down, you want to catch all of those pieces that you've folded in. And we'll do that all the way around to the other two corners as well.